I am at Koh Samui Airport in Thailand. So Koh Samui is the second largest island in Thailand, and it's a pretty popular beach tourist destination. But what's pretty special about this place is the airport. As you can see, it's a giant open air airport. Even though it is an international airport, so you can see there's departures to other places in Asia, such as Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, Hong Kong, even China looks like as well, in addition to the usual hotspots in Thailand, such as Bangkok, Phuket, and Chiang Mai. So it is, generally a large international airport, but as you can see, it's entirely open air. And these are the check-in counters, as you can see here, pretty standard stuff. So this airport is actually owned by Bangkok Airways. So Bangkok Airways is a boutique airline, and they used to be the only airline that flew in and out of its airport. But last year, Scoot Airlines, which is a Singaporean airline, the discount airline for Singapore Airlines, they now operate in and out of here as well. So they also have their own dedicated check-in counters. So you have your usual check-in areas there. You can see down there there's a screen with some staff standing at the end. So basically, after you check in, you have to check the screens to see if your check-in luggage got flagged for security. So it's a bit kind of awkward, I guess. You just gotta stand around for about 4 or 5 minutes and wait to see if your luggage shows up on the screen. If it does, you gotta check in with the staff, but if not, you can just make your way towards the departure gates, and that's pretty much what I'm doing now. So you can see along the way, just like any other airport, there'll be shops and stalls and places you can relax, have a drink, eat some food. But again, it's entirely open air, so that's obviously one of the reasons people come to Samui, is to enjoy the nice environment, the nice warm weather with the beaches, palm trees, all that kind of stuff. So even though at least I am on my way out of the island, you can still enjoy a bit more, one last taste of the island vibes as you walk and make your way towards the departure gates. But because this is Thailand, it does get a bit hot. So you can see that most of these restaurants, cafes, and things like that, they have an indoor area that's air conditioned if you prefer to stay nice and cool inside. But of course, there is outdoor seating as well for those that prefer the fresh air. You can see it's a pretty good selection here in terms of drinks, coffee, food, all that sort of stuff. And even on the other side, I'm not going to walk across because you can see it's quite sunny in the middle there. So I don't really want to expose myself to any more sun, but there's additional shops and restaurants there. There's a airport gaming zone. I guess little kittens that you can play with. But yeah, there's an airport gaming zone there, so you could do some VR gaming and things like that if maybe you're all beached out and maybe a bit sick of the sun at this point. You can make your way indoors for some VR gaming. And there seems to be some shops under construction over there as well. Not yet open, but generally you can see there are quite a lot of places around here that you can shop at. Some toilets there, which are again open air, but kind of open air, but once you go inside, they actually are air conditioned. So if you need to escape the hot weather, you can actually do that in the toilets. So you can see it's a fairly long walk to the departure gates, just like it would be at any other typical airport. But again, here it's all open air, so it is an interesting experience. And as you can see, like I haven't passed through any security or anything like that yet, so anyone could just come here and enjoy, the shopping and chilling at this place. And you might be wondering, why would anyone just stop and chill here? But as you can see, there are actually areas where you can just relax, do some plane watching and things like that. So you can see over there some beanbag chairs, some shaded areas where people can just sit, have a drink. But it looks like, probably mostly people are just waiting for their flights. But anyone can just come here and chill if you don't mind the sun too much. There's a nice little area here where I guess maybe they have some photo shoot opportunities. And this is the first set of departure gates here. So these are the domestic departure gates, and this is where you actually will have to pass through security. And then up here is where they have the international departure gates, which again is where you'll have to pass through security. But until then, yeah, I mean, anyone is free to just come chill at the airport, do some plane spotting, take some photos here, and yeah, this is what I would say is probably one of the most interesting airports that I've visited in the world. Okay, and then after passing through the security to the domestic departure gates, you can see it continues to be open air. We got this nice kind of canal with the lily pads and everything. And now as I approach the gates, you can see there are souvenir stalls and the usual kind of things you would expect at a airport departure gates area. And yeah, again, we got the food, drinks, this and that kind of stuff. But this is, past security, so you can only come here if you do have a valid boarding pass. So, if you're just someone that wants to do some plane spotting or something, then you won't be able to come into this area. But you can see it's still pretty chill. Still got beanbag chairs, and again, there's a canal. There looks to be houses or something like that on the other side. So it's almost like whoever lives in those houses can just hop or swim across the canal to get to the departure gates area. And here you can start to see some of the departure gates. And again, it's all open air, so it can get a bit hot, but you see there are fans and things like that that will try to keep everyone cool. There is a blue ribbon lounge area here, but the blue ribbon lounge is only for people, business class passengers, or if you've purchased the lounge separately, which I haven't done. So, okay, but even if you're not a business class passenger, you can still access the regular lounge in the airport. So you can see there's a little area there with coffee, food, drinks, that kind of stuff. And you might be wondering, shouldn't this be a controlled area? Like, where's the staff to control access to this area? But because this airport is owned by Bangkok Airways, and Bangkok Airways used to be the only airline that flew in and out of this airport, so pretty much every passenger just gets complimentary access to the lounge. So you have a decent selection of snacks and things like that there, coffee, juice, water, the usual stuff. So definitely make use of that if you come to Koh Samui. And it also works in the other airports as well. So if you're flying from Bangkok to Koh Samui, then you'll have access to the Bangkok Airways lounge at the Bangkok airport as well, because pretty much Bangkok Airways will be the only airline that flies from Bangkok to Koh Samui. But if you do fly Scoot, so I mentioned earlier that Scoot now also flies to and from Koh Samui from Singapore. So in the international departures area, there is a Scoot Airways courtesy corner as well, with drinks, food, and all that kind of stuff. So no matter which airline you fly to get to Koh Samui, you always have access to some kind of lounge area in the airport. So definitely make use of that.
And even after boarding, the open air experience doesn't end, as you then need to take a little shuttle bus to the plane. And then finally, it's time to take off and say goodbye to the beaches. So, what do you think of Koh Samui Airport? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you next time.